Hi, hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika and today I'm going to be giving you some manga recommendations based on things that you love. So if you like this thing, try this manga. Don't you wanna have fun? Fool around someone. This is a collab with Izzy and Shae. You all know who they are. Happy for Now and Shae Geeks Out. I love them very much and you all obviously know that. I don't ever shut up about them. And this is part of the Summer of Collab series. So let's start off with Omegaverse. If you like Omegaverse, then you should try Bite Maker. This manga series has about 5 volumes out right now. I've only read the first one, but I'm really excited to continue. This is definitely a series that is very consumable and fast-paced. I really enjoyed reading this when I started it and I wanted to immediately continue, but I didn't have access to the rest of the volumes. In this one we are particularly following an alpha and an omega, and she doesn't really know that she's an omega, and the alpha and the omega have a pheromone that makes them very irresistible to each other. And I can't tell you anything else. This is such a short volume of manga, but I do really recommend this for someone who is looking to get into manga and they love Omegaverse. If you like smut, Fire in His Fingertips. I don't feel like I can recommend any manga without somehow saying something about Fire in His Fingertips. This is literally hentai. So if you like smut, you like spicy time, that's what this is. You are literally getting everything on page. You can see it all, and honestly, it's fantastic. There's no blurring in here. This is literally, you like spicy time? Pick this up. Give her a try. The storyline in this one is this girl right here is best friends with this boy. He is a firefighter and she is trying to set him up with different girls, and it's not working because he has a crush on her, and her building starts to burn down and he's the one who rescues her, and she ends up staying at his house and they have a sexual relationship, eventually a romantic relationship. There's 4 volumes now. There's 3 out and I think the 4th one is about to release or it just released. I love it. It's so good. You just try it. Okay? Thank you. If you like thrillers, The Promise Neverland. The Promise Neverland is literally about an orphanage full of children, and when the children turn a certain age, I think it's 12, they end up being taken. It's a story of these kids trying to figure out what is actually happening and them escaping the orphanage because they want a better life. And again, I can't tell you anything else. This is a 20-some volume series and it is just so consumable and I love everything about it. If you've not tried The Promise Neverland, you need to try The Promise Neverland. It's fantastic. If you like BDSM, I'm going to recommend Pleasure and Corruption. This is a series that I absolutely love. This is following our 2 characters who are in high school. One of them is a pervert in a way. He likes to take pictures of girls underneath their skirts, and our heroine ends up catching him doing that. And because she ends up catching him, she's like, I won't tell anyone if you decide to do this. And she ends up getting him to be her submissive. She gets to practice being a dom on him, and she is someone who uses rope to tie people up, and he ends up really enjoying becoming a submissive, and he really doesn't know how he stands with all that. And there is another subplot in here with another girl in the school. What I will say about this is this series is hard to stomach at times because this is about 2 kids, and they are kids that are in high school, and though you know things are happening, there's nothing really on page to tell you yes 100% that is his body parts. It's blurred. You know it's happening, but it's not explicit. It's not explicit. It is there and you know what's happening, but you don't get any visual confirmation of that happening. This is a series you do have to kind of suspend your disbelief. I do think that if you're going to go into this one, you need to know going in that it is a harder one to swallow if that's something you struggle with. But if I personally aged up the characters and I was fine, so I love the series. I will never shut up about it. go read it. If you want queer manga, let's talk about these two. I have a 10 count and I can't believe I slept with you. This one is a Yuri manga. There are only 2 volumes out so far, but the 3rd one does come out very soon. And this series is so cute. It's literally about this girl who cannot pay for her rent, and she ends up having a relationship with her landlady because her landlady says, hey, I notice you're behind on your rent. You can do XYZ and we will take care of it and we won't worry about it. So it becomes a situation of one of them doing favors for the other, and eventually them having a romance and them having a relationship. It's so cute. I have no words for how cute this is. I literally love this series so much, and I cannot wait for the last book to come out because this series is just so cute. And seeing them like kind of come to terms with their relationship and like how they feel about one another, it's perfect. 10 count is following a guy who has OCD. He has very compulsive behaviors and he really struggles with just day-to-day tasks because of his OCD. And he ends up befriending a therapist, but the person, when he befriends him, he doesn't know that he's a therapist, and they don't have an actual like therapist relationship the way people kind of talk about this book. Like, he's not his therapist and they develop a relationship. He's his friend, and he kind of gives him the guidance and advice like he's a therapist as a friend. So this is definitely on the more taboo side, but this is a male-male relationship, and I loved this first volume, and I think the 4th volume is the one that it's kind of hard to find, but this series is so good. It's fantastic. I highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. This is such a good story, and I love the premise. I feel like it's executed perfectly, and just please go read it. Thank you. And then I also have 2 for if you love horror, and no one's gonna be shocked. Tokyo Ghoul. I just pulled my Japanese edition because this is my favorite cover, and I just love it, okay? I just love it. Tokyo Ghoul, I don't know how many times I've recommended Tokyo Ghoul on my channel, but I literally never shut up about how much I love this series. Tokyo Ghoul is following Ken Kaneki. Ken Kaneki is a half human, half ghoul. At the beginning of the story, he is very smitten with a woman who works at this coffee shop. He gets her to agree to go on a date with him, and she's actually a ghoul. And in the midst of all this happening, something happens to her, and they end up transplanting some of her organs into him, and it's his story of learning how to now be a half human, half ghoul, and to live in society because he is one of the first of his kind. I have no words. I love Ken Kaneki, so I love how unhinged he is. I love him. Just go read it, please. Thank you. Also, on the page of horror that I just couldn't not talk about this. I love this manga. I think it's fantastic. It's Itibitsu. This one is one that is so good, and I just cannot tell you how much I love this without just like screaming about it. But look, this is how thick it is. It is a thick manga, but it goes by so quickly. It does not feel like it is as thick as it actually is. This story is honestly so interesting and genuinely creepy in places. Now, I've talked extensively about how I don't get scared with things. Like, horror doesn't scare me. I read horror to be uncomfortable, but not scared. The one thing that does scare me in horror is paranormal horror, and that is what this kind of leans into. We're following an urban legend about this girl who will ask you, do you have a little sister or do you have a sister? And no matter what you do, you're not going to have a good outcome with it, because either you say, yes, you have a little sister, and she takes it as you want her to be your little sister, so she tries to kill your actual little sister, or you say, no, you don't have a little sister, so she takes it as, no, you don't want her to be your little sister, so she kills you. So it's literally a you cannot win scenario, and the only way you can actually win this is by just ignoring her and not speaking to her. It is wild. It is a fun ride, and I genuinely am so happy that I read this. I do have a full reading vlog if you want like full in-depth thoughts on this, but this is a fantastic manga, and I could not recommend it enough. So those are all the mangas that I wanted to recommend. Go ahead and check out Izzy and Shae's videos down below. If you're still here, leave me a bat emoji because I have a new bat blanket on my chair, and I will chat with y'all in my next one. Bye everyone.
Don't you wanna have fun? Don't you wanna have some fun? Yeah, his baby said that they don't got a future like